This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network.
was one-man band. First time I met him, he said he was free. He said he didn't want to have a woman like me. Taking his time, instilling his passion for the art that keeps him sane at the edge of life's transactions. Told me that he lived a life of constant fire, cigarettes and coffee and discipline and desire. There's no such thing as talent, he said. So what's the key to my success? Well, I practice and I practice to be my very best. A steady stream of players pass through my door each night. Heavy metal, jazz, and name it, we always get it tight. They come to me with dreams of Smokey limousines, and they count on me to keep the beat. So I do I call you, but you'll probably call me in a week or two from now, and maybe then we'll see. I'll spend the time to love you, but I've one main vice. You see, my true love is my drum kit. She's everything to me. There's no such thing as talent, he said. So what's the key to my success? Well, I practice and I practice to be my very best. A steady stream of players pass through my door each night. And the metal, jazz, and name it, but always get it tight. They come to me with dreams of smoky limousines, and they count on me to keep the beat. So what's the key to my success? Well, I practice and I practice to be my very best. A steady stream of players pass through my door each night. Every man that jazz and name it, we always get it tight. They come to me with dreams of smoky limousines, and they count on me to keep the beat. Yeah, they count on me to keep the beat.
Join Musicians for Freedom on ICRN-Radio.com every Sunday at 3 p.m. MDT and 10 p.m. UK time, with guests and political music live from the Colorado studio.
Well, welcome everybody. Today is Sunday, and you are joining us for Musicians for Freedom. This is our regular segment. It is September 18th. So far, we've survived this far into the year 2011, and we're looking forward to many more changes in the future and adding music and lightening up our effort, because in the Patriot movement, sometimes we get so much information that it's hard to keep our balance. It's hard to keep centered with all the negativity. So it's nice to add the music, and I look forward to Sundays with Sharlene Holt of Musicians for Freedom. Sharlene, welcome back.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing today, Karen?
I'm doing well. Your voice changed.
Well, you never know, it's got some kind of echo or what's it sound like?
Well, it sounds very full and rich.
Oh, okay, nice. Who knows? I don't know a thing about producing. I've got, what do you call this program I'm using right here? Ableton Live. And, last minute, you know how I am, so I fire the whole thing up, the Alesis, Firewire here and the Ableton Live, and, I've got a little condenser microphone, and, and it's really funny. Some people will come over here and think that somehow this is like a studio, but really it's fairly easy to do this, and if I could just get some help, I'm hoping in Nashville I'm going to find some, gurus who are going to explain, recording technology to me.
Well, actually, aren't you about ready to introduce us to your main connection, to our main connection in Nashville?
Yes, indeed. And we are so very, very grateful that Smokey is like a solid kind of man. You know, for a musician, Smokey, you're pretty solid.
Oh, well, thank you. That's kind words from a solid person yourself.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's been hard won, you know. I think, you know, with age, you know, not only am I more and more beautiful physically every day, but of course I've developed some wisdom as well.
There you go. There's nothing quite as good as basking in your own glory.
Self-congratulatory. Yes, indeed, I am. And like I say, I've deserved it. I deserve all of it. Everything that's coming to me.
You've earned it all.
I've earned it all. I've got every wrinkle. Every, you know, time I had to sit in bars and play for drunk people. Like, who was that guy that sang that song, Stuck in Lodi again? There's a line, he says, if I had $1 for every song I sung, for every time I had to play while people sat there drunk. You know that song?
Yeah. I know that line very well.
Oh, Lord, stuck in Lodi again. So I'm stuck in my basement again today in Denver. But,
actually, I think one of the reasons why musicians do tend to drink so much is because, yeah, if you're sitting there, everybody else is drunk, they get pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, which is why it's nice to kind of be moving into, you know, the other venues. You know, and Smokey, you were complaining. Remember you were talking to me about how you and Doug weren't real crazy about it when you were in Denver playing the gigs in the bars here, and then they did the no smoking ordinance around here, huh?
Right. Well, you know, I believe truly that the no smoking ordinance really put a damper on the live music and bar scene in general. The promise was that, you know, all the non-smokers would fill up the bars, which I knew at the time that was nonsense because most non-smokers don't drink that much in general.
I may be the exception to that rule.
There are exceptions. That's not a hard, fast rule, but in general, you know, drinking and smoking go hand in hand, and I know plenty of people who I would consider non-smokers that when they're in a bar, they grab a cigarette and light up. Myself included.
I don't think I've ever seen you smoke a cigarette, Smokey.
Oh, I have. Probably not around you, because not everybody, you know, we rarely hang in bars long enough to sit around and get bored, but like when we're hanging out at the full moon downtown till 2 a.m. watching Phil Hummer play, I'll grab a cigarette now and then.
Well, they still
just to be sociable.
Don't they smoke back in Nashville? I was there some years ago, and that was one thing that I did notice going up and down Music Row, that those are some smoky-filled bars.
Right. I think the Broadway scene, which is the, you know, the honky-tonk district, I think those all got exempted from the smoking ban, but all the others are pretty much smoking outdoors.
I personally like it. You know, I like smoke-free bars. I mean, I'm all about it. If you want to go have a cigarette, you know, you just go outside. You know, it's not so easy in the wintertime, but we all need to smoke less, you know. You know, I was smoking American Spirits there. You remember, Smokey, I had about maybe 2 cigarettes a day, maybe. Right. Well, I haven't had a cigarette in like weeks. It just fell away. I just got tired of it.
Good for you.
Congratulations.
It's the only bad habit I never had. And I also, though I agree with you, Sharlene, I like a bar that I can actually have a drink in and not feel like I'm smoking a cigarette as well. I guess it's
I agree.
a habit.
I do appreciate not being, you know, covered in smoke at the end of the night, but it seems like it did put a damper on the crowd.
Well, we just need to find other venues. Like I said, churches are a great venue. I mean, churches are going to town lately. There's so many and all different kinds and lots of music. So
yeah, they all have
a lot
music.
of different places we can play. Coffee houses. Huh?
They all have music, the churches.
Oh, yeah, the churches? Yeah.
You know, I've been looking into lately, now I know I talked about 528 hertz, which is the frequency.
The healing frequency.
Right, healing and miracles. However, the 432 is one that is supposedly the frequency of light that is at the center of the universe and all things, and the heart chakra. So I'm also looking into that frequency, and it's interesting. Actually, it's a warmer type of a frequency. It's a little bit lower, rounder pitch. I don't have my tuning fork yet, but I will be getting one. So
and that's 432?
Yeah, I put a link down there.
Yeah, that's a little bit below A440.
Yeah, and I'm hearing that in 1939, Goebbels, who I think worked with the Nazis, was instrumental in changing the tuning to make it a standard tuning of 440 away from 432, which was much more beneficial. And so it's interesting, you know, there really are theories there that we are the individual songs of God expressed in this dimension.
Well, the reason they changed the frequencies around was the interplay between the harmonics. There's when you mix two or more frequencies together, you get the sum, the difference in the two individual frequencies, and they're playing upon the sum and the difference of the two frequencies.
Huh. Well,
and that's the key part with all the healing frequencies and such as that, is that it's the interplay between the harmonics, and then when you get into the actual chording.
Well, also, though, if there are certain frequencies that our DNA is especially tuned for that are more beneficial to us, it certainly makes sense to have a dissonant set put in that would be of much less benefit to human beings if you were trying to take over the world, like in the New World Order. So I don't have a problem thinking, that they'd be messing with us on that as well. Now, Smokey, you moved to Nashville, and you are looking to break into the music business. So why don't you give us an update on how you are doing out there? This is what, week number 4 or 5?
Let's see, we've been here since the 1st of August, so that puts it about 6 weeks, I believe. And things are going well. Right?
You got a job in a music store.
I have a job at a music store. Our main business is over eBay. We have lots and lots of parts, so if you're looking to repair an amplifier or a guitar, we have all kinds of parts different items that we're, removing the good parts from, tape decks, amplifiers, handful of musical instruments. And let's see, this last week, Kenny Vaughn had his CD release party at Ernest Tubbs record shop down on Broadway. It's one of the venues that they don't allow smoking in. Mostly because it's a record shop and not a bar as such. But it's a famous stage where all the greats have played, such as Hank Williams. They have a cardboard cutout of Hank Williams that has a permanent place on stage. It's a nice little record store. They have all the good country music in there.
Probably a little bit like Twist and Shout. I really like Twist and Shout here in Denver, too. That's a pretty nice little area. Over there by the Tattered Cover.
Right. They certainly don't have the square footage that Twist and Shout does, but they can get pretty deep into the country genre.
Now, do you need to get a regular gig or a regular day job, or do you guys have a gig lined up, or how's the music scene going for you?
Well, I do have the regular day job with the used music store. Right now, we're not concentrating on playing live. But we are looking to get back into the studio in the middle of October to do a bunch of stuff, all our new songs, and we have hopefully an idea for a song for a movie.
Cool.
We just have to get all the connections and all the ducks in a row, which is pretty hard because it's hard to keep ducks in a row. They go all willy-nilly.
Unruly ducks.
Or like corralling cats. Well, you do have a song, though, that Detlev has set up for us, I believe. It's Buildings on the Moon. Do you want to tell us what that's about? And then when you finish, we can have our lovely producer, Detlev from Switzerland, play that for us. And then it looks like we're also going to have Alin Karna from the UK join us in the not-too-distant future.
Well, I'll keep it short. Basically, I wrote the song. I came up with the bass riff, attempting to imitate some sort of Neil Young song of some sort, because I think Neil's really cool. And I came up with that, and Doug, in his own way, he always says, okay, keep playing that. And so I do, and then he says, stop, wait a minute, and then he writes the rest of the song, and then he wanted to write it about some sappy love song, and I said, no, let's write it about the buildings that are on the moon that they won't tell us about.
Cool.
And that's how the words came up. He always wants to write sappy love songs, and I'll do everything else.
You know where I bet you could play that? You really ought to see what you can do to get that as the theme song for George Norrie's program.
I've tried, and I just need more of a connection, because he really only wants CDs that are submitted, that are ready for pressing. And while ours is ready to press, or not ready to press, but he wants CDs that are pressed, I just haven't released ours on a CD yet. Other than our handmade copies.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But I'd love to get it out there, George. If anyone knows Mr. Norrie, be sure to turn him on to this song.
Well, that would be good.
All right, let's hear it.
join Musicians for Freedom on ICRadioNetwork.com every Sunday at 3 p.m. MDT and 10 p.m. UK time for guests and political music live from the Colorado studio.
Hey, this is Detlev of Wake News Radio here on Musicians for Freedom, and I am here producing behind the scenes. And I want to hand the mic over to Sharlene. Are you there? Sharlene? Well, she's not answering, so we'll get it over to...
Hi, Detlev.
Oh,
yeah, I can
Sharlene.
hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, sure.
Yes,
we are
can you hear
live
me?
now, and take it on. So go ahead.
Got it, Sharlene.
It's in
All
your
right,
hands.
Karen, are you there?
Hands.
I am here.
Okay, and then we've got Smokey is here with us today, and Alin Karna.
Yeah, Alan's just joined us here from the UK. So, Alan, welcome to the program.
Hi, yeah, greetings from the UK, from lovely Devon, down in the southwest of England.
How's it going there since the riots and everything? Pretty calm?
Oh, the riots are still going.
No. Oh, man. Are they? They're not.
No.
Now they're just sorting through all the pictures to identify the people who are out there, since they should have plenty of photographs to be able to do that.
Oh, it's a joke.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but
I'm getting a real bad echo here. Sorry.
yeah. So you because you've got your speakers on most probably.
Turning them down.
Yeah, please.
Are you
Alan,
going to play a song for us, Alan? Are you going to play live?
So I'm just making some adjustments here.
okay. Well, I just wanted to add, on the riots in the UK. I just recently read an article about that 2/3 of the rioters have been criminals who had been released early by the officials.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I read. So it's this is more and more confirming, the suggestion that it might have been a false flag, huh?
I think
Right,
I
yeah.
just don't trust anything they say anymore. I don't think anybody does. They can say what they like. I think the BBC, the politicians, the bankers, I think they're so irrelevant now that, anything they say when I hear it, I just, I immediately think, well, that's probably lies.
Yeah.
Good one, yeah.
They are definitely losing their control. I think more and more people are beginning to wake up and see that you cannot get the truth from the mainstream media at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They're more and more discredited as time goes on. Yeah.
Well, what are you finding? Anything now happening? Are there trials going on? Because all I knew was that it kind of calmed down and they wanted to use rubber bullets and hoses. So what has happened since then, Alan?
Well, nothing. It's just that, the news is all over the place. It's like you get a weird menu of news. The other thing, of course, is Libya. That's a big mess. Syria is a big mess. I listen to Webster Tarplay every week on Genesis Communications Network, and I think you get a very, very good report with everything, but particularly with regard to Libya. And there's nothing about the riots apart from what you just mentioned, and that they're saying that we've got a problem with all these kids, they're all criminals, and they're just diverting our attention away from their own criminal activities.
Mm-hmm.
But so everything is pretty much back to normal, because for a while there,
absolutely. I think that what was going on, this is our own, we did a big show with Detlev, with Tony Farrell and Albert Burgess and Brian Gerrish. I think the consensus is that was a false flag stand-down event. I think that at the time, if you remember, that David Cameron, the Prime Minister, was up to his neck in all this scandal with Murdoch and the newspaper hacking with News International. And suddenly we had these riots. I think it was very timely, and it took away the attention from, these scandals.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Sure, they like to divert our attention with false crises.
Oh, they're doing that all the time. I mean, we know everything they do, Smokey, everything they do is a false flag.
Disinfo.
Absolutely.
It's all disinfo.
It's all disinfo. It's all just lies. And it gets to the point where they're totally irrelevant. What we are doing is relevant. What they're doing is irrelevant. It's discredited.
I think it's funny. I was looking up the article when you mentioned it, Alan, here in the UK 3 days ago. It says, in The Guardian, it says, they're researching the data. It says the data shows that the 176 people so far jailed over the riots have been sentenced to an average of 11.1 months. The detailed figures show that those convicted of burglary during the riots, generally looting, have been jailed for 14.1 months. Compared with the normal rate of 8.8 months, a sentence some 60% longer than normal. Those convicted of violent disorder are being jailed for 10.4 months compared with 5.3 months normally, and those convicted of theft are getting sentences 3 times as long, 7.1 months compared with a normal rate of 2.4 months. And then apparently here you can actually apply to be a researcher. There's only 48 hours left to apply to be a researcher in our study into the riots. I mean, talk about irrelevant.
Wow.
It's just
Who cares?
It's horrendous. I mean, what you got to look at is these guys that are running the government. You've got David Cameron, you've got George Osborne, who's the Bilderberger chap who is just emerged in the news recently. He's a cocaine, and in his past you've got call girls and prostitution and stuff in his shady past. Now, Boris Johnson, who's now the mayor of London, these guys went to something called the Bullying Club, which is all out of the elite school called Eton. I don't know if you guys have heard about that. Now, these guys, when they were younger, wearing their top hats and their tails, they would go into restaurants, they'd set fire to toilets, they'd smash the whole place up and then just write a check. They never went to jail. I mean, you're talking about guys who've never done a decent day's work in all their lives, and look what's happening now with these kids. Two guys got jailed for 4 years each, just for writing a few things on Facebook. So don't you think that when people hear this news, just even people who haven't woken up, who are waking up in their droves every hour, every minute, it's going to make them think, my God, I mean, look at the hypocrisy. And it's almost as if it's meant to turn you off. It's meant to make you feel, they're kind of stamping it in your face, You're meant to feel hopeless.
Hopeless, yeah. It also says here the figures show a much more hardline approach to using prison sentences, with 43% of those sentenced so far by magistrates being sent to jail, compared with a normal custody rate of 12%. So I'm not really sure why they're telling us this.
Well, it's a distraction from the problems they're having with the Euro crisis, the problems they're having internally between the Liberals and all of the other stuff. It's just a talking point. Again, it's just a distraction.
Well,
and I think most people realize that.
We were in court recently, Smokey. You were talking about the video. I just put a video up called Colorado Sovereign Files Fee Schedule with Denver. That's our friend Luke, and I made that video footage of Luke last week when me and Luke went with Bert to court. So just a little update about Bert. And it was
Cool. Yeah, I was wondering how Bert is doing now, so definitely catch us up on that.
Well, it was pretty interesting. Now he's still kind of being sort of thrown in with the other 3 people. Because there were 4 people that actually were involved in the incident at DIA, the Denver International Airport, where the 3 guys were attempting to escort another friend of ours, a woman, who had a boarding pass. They just wanted to escort her to the gate. And apparently that whole thing just turned into a big fiasco, and everybody got arrested and thrown into jail and such. And
for trespassing at an international airport. Just kills
exactly.
me.
It is really kind of, it's bizarre, isn't it? And so anyway, so it's been kind of like a mess, sort of like a circus actually when I was there, at court the other day. It was crowded court. And interestingly, speaking of these sentences, that's what, reminded me to bring this up is that, these guys in the orange suits are coming straight out of jail, right into the court in front of the magistrate, and it's just crowded like a full house of people. And, and the magistrate is reading off their, are you a U.S. citizen? Do you agree to waive all of your rights to, trial? Do you agree to waive all of your rights? Do you agree, do you consent? Do you, and the guy's just going, yeah, just give it to me. So, it was amazing, and that happened like 3 times, and I'm just looking at it. Me and Bert are looking at each other going, what is wrong with these people? And Bert's like, yeah, that's their last chance. All they had to say, no, I don't consent. They never said it. They never say it. And so Bert, that's all. He's doing great. He seems to have a right away, I think there's another date.
So Bert said, Bert said, I do not consent when it was his turn. Everybody else was, okay, yes, I hand over my rights.
Well, Bert, like I say, when it was time, it's really kind of complicated and it's hard to really explain just in the few minutes we have here on the show, but, he's still sort of in the pack with the other 3 is what's happening. And the other 3 have attorneys and Bert doesn't have one because he's representing himself,
Okay.
So it's kind of like it was their turn to get up there. So Bert and 2 of the other guys, and of course the girl is in California in medical school now. And, and the attorney that's supposedly going to represent those 2, the other 2 guys, he didn't show up. And this is the second time he hasn't shown up because he's had conflicts. So they had another attorney who was a covering, sort of an attorney who was covering for, their main attorney. And so he was kind of like speaking for all 3 of those guys that were standing there in front of the magistrate. And, so Bert really has to sort of get himself out of the pack. So, it's been sort of a mess because the attorney hasn't shown up. Bert's been filing all of his motions. He's already challenged jurisdiction. He seems to have the right of way. The city attorneys aren't saying nothing. Bert's definitely got a right of way going. So now it's just a matter of Bert getting himself out of that little pack.
Okay, because they've given away their rights and he never gave away his or signed anything.
Something like that. Yeah, Bert has been totally straight up in the sovereign, kind of move there. And the other guys they're not as well informed. And frankly, I think they're a little afraid,
I'm sure. Well, now, does that mean when he was originally arrested, he did not sign any paperwork?
Well, he definitely did not give any kind of name or anything like that. But eventually what happens is, they throw you in jail, and he was there 30-some hours, 32 hours or something. And so finally his wife showed up with some bail. And he went ahead and signed, to get bailed out or something. So, but of course now he has this whole presentation. He filed a counterclaim and discussed, all of the money they owe him for violating all of his rights. Because, the more that I research all of this, from what here's the best way to explain it, is that we the people have unalienable rights. And that counts no matter who you are, anywhere around the world, really, is that people in general have rights, okay? But what happens is that we delegate our rights to the state or to the feds. And that's what being a citizen is. So you can't just delegate 1 or 2 of your rights. It's like, here, I'm going to delegate 1 of my rights, but I'm going to keep the other 9. You can't. You pretty much, if you're a citizen, you are now a slave.
It's a package deal.
Really, it's a package deal. So the key really is all you have to do is don't delegate any of your rights, and then you can monetize your rights. And so that's where the fee schedule comes in. And like I said, Smokey, you were really digging on the fee schedule idea, huh?
Yes, I am, because
Smokey's having a cigarette.
That's the whole key to being a sovereign.
Yeah, your time is worth money.
Right, and the reason that you can monetize your rights, you see, what happens is when we're born and the birth certificate gets registered, this is the same in the UK is here, but, like I was just listening to John Harris, I think, he's got a bunch of affidavits under his arm in some article, so everybody's doing it. He says 200 a day are being filed with the Queen,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So they're
it's all the statutory stuff, whether you're a being or a person and all this stuff, this maritime stuff. I mean, I keep using the word irrelevant. And that's how I feel about it. You know, the control system, the New World Order control system is irrelevant. And they've got all this stupid, crappy law. It's all to do with money and pyramids and stuff like that. It's junk.
It is. And what's funny though, I mean, that's why they're laughing all the way to the bank, is because they took the birth certificate and they monetized it. They took your rights from you as soon as you were born, and you never even understood that they took your rights.
Yeah.
And that's what's so ridiculous is it's a scandal. I mean, then all these guys in their orange jumpsuits straight out of jail think they even have any rights at all to bargain with. When the fact is, all of their rights have already been sold to international stock.
Going back, Sharlene, going back to the riots, okay, and it's not just, I mean, they orchestrated whatever that, you know, in England, and they sparked up all over the place. But these riots are going on all over the world, and God forbid it's going to occur in America, because you guys have all got guns. I know my brother's got a whole suitcase full of guns.
I'm
over
hoping
there in LA.
I hope we wake up, you know.
Yeah, but it's, you know,
I put a little advertisement on I put an ad on my website. Speaking of guns, you know, and I try to say guns and peace in the same sentence, you know. I do on my website. So I have on the left, you know, the girl, she's got guns, you know, a gun in her hand. She says, you have rights, you know, because it's important for the gun owners to understand how to keep their guns.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid they're not going to figure this out.
They took away our guns here many, many, many years ago.
And in Canada too. I mean, there's no excuse. This is America.
Well, one of the reasons why we're having the war in Libya is because Libya doesn't belong to the IMF.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
They didn't, and they had...
Right, and now they belong to the IMF for the new
well, not quite. It's not over yet, Smokey. I do encourage people, listen to Webster Tarplay's show, the second half. There's a guy comes on the show with Webster, and he's reporting first-hand reports. Now, everything that we're hearing in the UK, and I strongly suspect, but possibly even more, in America, in the media, is total lies. It's total lies. I mean, I've been sent pictures from Libyan children who are victims of the NATO bombings, you know, the North Atlantic terrorist organization, and they're just blowing everybody up. The rebels are fighting with each other. There's a bunch of, in the south, it's all, black people who don't like this new, Al-Qaeda government that's been installed by the Narcotics and Terrorist Organization, or NATO. And the whole thing's a dog's breakfast, you know, and while this is all going on in Libya, of course, they're stealing the oil and they're stealing the gold and they're trying to monetize, you know, with the IMF. It's not over yet. You know, you got the desert.
Oh, no, it's not over, but yeah. those are, you know, all true there. Absolutely.
And the real reasons.
It's awful, you know, it's a real war crime situation. And I mean, over here, you know, with the truth movement or whatever, it's just disgusting. I mean, I know people in the Royal Marines. I know people in the services. And I can tell you this. I mean, John Harris told me this. John Harris said that there are more people leaving the military today than there was in the First World War. These guys are in prison. They're being tortured or they're disappearing.
It's a mess. It really
Why
is a
should
mess.
they fight with Al-Qaeda when for the last 10 years we've been told that Al-Qaeda is the enemy because of 9/11? We can talk about 9/11. And all of a sudden we're doing D-Day landings with them in Tripoli. Mm-hmm. It's a joke.
Yeah. And
well, see, that's because you're pronouncing it incorrectly. It's Al-Qaeda.
That's right. It's Al-Qaeda. And do you know, I think it's Mike Rivera who says that Al-Qaeda, which was created by the CIA, it was, you know, in some dialects, I don't know any Islamic dialects, Arabic or whatever, but in some dialects, Al-Qaeda means the toilet. Now, do you really expect us to believe that these terrorists are going to call themselves the toilet? Give me a break.
No, but they're instrumental in flushing us off.
You know, Yeah, it's just so sick. All this satanic stuff is just so irrelevant. It's just so sickening. And I think that rather than resist it, we've got to find a new way, and we've got to teach, not rule is my new thing. Teach, not rule. So, you lead by example. And what we're doing here is exactly that.
Right.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Oh, Alin,
Yes.
you have developed a new song. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think Karen may know it. I'm Not Afraid.
Yeah,
Is that
that's a
what you're
good one.
talking about? Yeah.
So
Is that
why?
the one that you sent him?
Yes, and I thought, well, maybe we just play it.
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Yeah, it's a musician saying, hey, F you, I'm not afraid.
Yay!
That's nice, isn't it?
Well, as I was listening to Coast the other night, one of the guests said our purpose here was to lose the fear.
Yeah.
And do what you need to do and just lose the fear.
Well,
Yeah. Karen and I were talking about that earlier on. We call it the ostriches, the people who are, not the sheeple. The sheeple are just dumb, and they will lead, they will be led, they will just go along with anything and like lemmings going over the cliff. But you've got another group of people who are intelligent, but we call it ostriches because they're the ones with their heads stuck in the sand. And the reason why they're denying what is going on is because it means that they would have to take action. They would have to do something.
Yeah, I know some people like that. Smokey, yeah, remember we were talking about my friend who said he was mainstream. Remember at the Mercury?
Right.
Exactly.
So you have
it was
the ostriches and you have the sheeple, and I'm sure there's other categories, but the ostriches are the ones that we got to win over next.
Right.
Well, Paul Simon wrote
It's
that
time
song.
before they will have to wake up because it'll be on their doorstep, as we've seen all over the world, They can't deny it forever.
Yeah, what is the song Paul Simon did? Wasn't that sort of like what he was talking about? They say it's all happening at the zoo. I do believe it. I do believe it's true. Do you remember that song?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he was talking about a political kind of a thing,
And every day that they deny it, Sharlene, every day, it doesn't work because they're living in fear anyway. It's like sooner or later you have to face the enemy. You have to face them. You can't just keep pretending it's not there. You can't pretend that the official story, the stupid fable of 9/11, the 9/11 monstrous myth story is the real one. You can't just keep going like that and pretend everything's hunky-dory because it's not.
Or that it doesn't have consequences. You see, there are consequences to staying asleep. So the ostriches think if you just keep your head in the hole, it'll all go away. It'll all just blow over.
No, I think the great thing about musicians, we'd much rather, we forget about fear altogether because we pick up our instruments and play. It's like the film Titanic, the musicians on that movie Titanic.
Oh yeah, I like that thing.
The last thing they do is they don't run away and try and get on a boat. They just carry on playing. I just thought that was a beautiful scene.
That was really something. Yeah, I don't know if I could have had the courage to keep singing a tune if the ship
Well,
was
they
sinking.
knew that they weren't going to get a
admit
place in the boat, wouldn't they?
Well, I love that movie because it's a giant metaphor. I mean, that's all that movie is a metaphor for what we're all what's happening right now to all of us.
What they should have done was they should have got the double bass and all jumped in the double bass. Maybe they had some kind of chance.
Oh
Well,
dear.
now
Play the
there's
song, Detlev. Play the song.
Yeah. So we keep on teaching now, okay? So stay
Right.
tuned. It's I'm Not Afraid from Alin.
I'm not afraid to live, I will die for you. And with the last breath, I will lie for you. In this life and next, I could cry over you. Whatever dimension, I will fly to you. I'm here for you, babe, and you're here for me. you, my babe, we're never gonna be apart. 'Cause I'm not afraid of any judgment day. What I'm doing's okay. When there is no understanding at all. I'm not afraid of love, my mind is open. I'm not afraid of words mine have been spoken. I'm not afraid to lose my eyes are open. Not afraid to fail again, my heart's been broken. Just wanna give and forget. Live my life with no regrets. Rise up from the ashes when the shit's gone down. I'm gonna walk on with prayers, feel the love all around. I'm not afraid any judgment day. What I'm doing's okay. When there is no understanding at all. I'm not afraid to die, I'm scared of losing you. Facing up to my fears, my heart's on the line with you. 'Cause I love
Join Musicians for Freedom on ICRadioNetwork.com every Sunday at 3 p.m. MDT and 10 p.m. UK time for guests and political music live from the Colorado studio.
Welcome back, folks. We are having fun here on Sunday. This is our Musicians for Freedom segment. We are being produced by Detlev, who is in Switzerland right now. He has wakenews.net, and he has a bi-weekly show in German over there, knocking them dead. And we also have Alin from ET UK in the UK. We just heard Alin's song of I Am Not Afraid. And we've also got Smokey in Nashville and Sharlene of Musicians for Freedom. So we're back in this hour, and we were talking with Detlev about a song called Scotty's Got a Stalker. Smokey, can you tell us about that?
Sure. It's not really about any one person per se, but a collection of people with whom I've known through the years who've had more than a passing problem with alcohol. And it's how they just sort of make a complete screw up of their lives while they're drinking, and it's such a destructive drug.
That it is.
I thought it was about stalkers.
Well, part of the thing is that, of course, it's so destructive that they don't know when to say when, and they just keep coming after a person.
So that's kind of like stalked by the bottle? Being stalked by your
Stalked
addiction?
by the bottle, but also when somebody's stalked by the bottle, they don't make the best choices possible.
Sneaking around in the dark with a bottle of Jack Daniels, right?
So it's about when you have like a woman who's had too much to drink and she is afraid to be alone, and she has to find some guy to keep her company because she just can't be alone.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. She can't bear to be alone, so she does whatever she can to be with someone, no matter how destructive it is.
Help me make it through the night.
Okay, so then why don't we listen to it, and then we go into a break, and afterwards we'll have some fine music for you, so stay tuned. So see you in a minute.
Check on mom and the kid. You can find her butt naked over in the corner. Scratched her name in his car with a nice F.U. and ran away. Giving us time to check on mom. Maybe he should look underneath the bed. He's got this crazy girl that comes around, falling down the steps every day. When it's time to check on mom and the kid, maybe he ought to check his head.
This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network.
So this is Musicians for Freedom. It's Detlev, wakenews.net and Wake News Radio. So we were just talking about music. So come on, get back, all you musicians. We keep on talking.
Yeah, we're talking about a double bass player. His name is Bill Coons. He's from Portland, Oregon, and he's my big friend and my big brother. And he's over here. He also does camera work as well with his wife. They're kind of like a production team, and we're planning to do some interviews. Not so much musical stuff. Although I think I will play live on my interview, and I want to do my piece down in Cornwall, Tintagel area. But we're doing individual interviews with people like Brian Gerrish and Albert Burgess and Tony Farrell and Ian Crane and others. And then we're all going to come together in what we call the round table and do that. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. Through October, we'll be doing that.
Awesome.
And Bill's big double bass. I've had Bill over here to do the double bass over in my studio here. So I hope that Bill can come on the show sometime because he is a musician. First and foremost, he does all the activist stuff and the camera work and stuff. But what he really loves is his music.
That'd be great if you can get him in your studio maybe on a Sunday before he leaves your part of the world. We'd love to have him.
Yeah, he's actually on Skype right now. I don't know, but I did give him sorry. That's my cell phone. He's around. So, because we're talking quite a lot about this production, these upcoming film sessions. So, he's around. Maybe I'll get him on next week, perhaps.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And if you feel like playing a live song, we're always up for that too. I really enjoy the live music part of the program.
Well, when Sharlene moves out here, I have my whole practice studio set up in our living room, which we can mic it and have a whole band play live if necessary.
Awesome. That would be very fun.
Wow.
I'm going to take my cat with me.
The cat can play drums.
The cat would be the drummer.
That's a great.
Oh, well, the cat can play the piano. The cat's real good at playing the piano.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that before. That's a classic.
It just takes 6 months to edit it. That's the only trouble.
Especially the
we'll
singing.
We'll make that cat famous. Absolutely. That cat will be famous.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. it's going to be a 3-day drive, I'm looking forward to being in Nashville. I'm not really looking forward to putting, everything in my car and driving out there, trying to anticipate what do I need for 6 months,
But it's fun. Driving out there is fun. I've driven cross country before and really enjoyed it. Get up early and start and check into a hotel around 3 or 4 o'clock.
Exactly.
Have an early dinner, cocktail, relax. Look at
I'll
the
have
news.
to call you, Karen, while I'm on the road then, and you can be...
That'd be great.
talking to me.
Yeah.
I'd come over there and join you guys, but if it wasn't for the TSA, the Terrorism Sucks Agency, because I used to visit my brother in LA so much.
It's a terrorism strip agency.
Yeah, the terrorism strip.
Where's your brother at, Alan?
Oh, he's near Pasadena. He's LA.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, Sunland. It's out in the valley. It's Sunland. It's called, and it's just not too far from Pasadena.
Sun City?
No, Sunland. It's called.
Sunland. Huh.
Kind of Glen something. Oh, it's not. It's only a few miles away from Pasadena. He was in Pasadena, but he bought a bigger house in Sunland, and he's been there forever. He's been in the States for pretty much since he was a teenager. So.
Well,
so I know LA very well. I've lived all over LA. Yeah.
Well, I don't think TSA is as much a problem lately. It sounds like, I don't read the lamestream news very often, but it does sound like they're backing down quite a lot. Like they're not inspecting the baby's dirty diapers anymore, I think I heard.
Oh, a real step up. Actually, I heard that they are implementing a scanner now that will make it so that you don't have to take your shoes off. So you'll actually think that you got your power back, but they're radiating your feet. You know, I think that they're a problem. So,
well, I would not go through the scanners. I mean, it seems to. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say you get gangrene feet then.
Something. Yeah, I just don't go to airports at all. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't do well. I know that I would not do well at being able to hold my temper if I saw TSA agents doing their thing. Yeah, and there's no reason to put myself in a position where just talking to them would get me thrown in jail. I have better things to do.
I would absolutely refuse to go through the scanner. Absolutely. I mean, it's bad enough for musicians anyway. I mean, I've traveled, I've lost count how many times I've flown to LA and stuff. But usually it's coming back home to Heathrow Airport because you've got lots of guitars and they want to see if you've got to have the receipts and stuff like, because they think you bought cheap guitars in America and that's what you're doing, you know? So they always stop you. You know, they want to check to see if you bought a brand new Stratocaster or something like that, you know, and you've got like loads of grass stuffed in there or whatever. So we're kind of used to it, but, you know.
Well, did you hear about, apparently TSA is going to be, doing the NFL or something, that they want to, you know, pat down all the football?
Yeah, they started with that already. So, but they have to hire bigger, chaps, you know, because they are so big, you know, those NFL guys. And the TSA is so small, you know, small people.
Well, I guess Alex Jones says he's boycotting, calling for a boycott, so that's what we want to do. I don't go to football games anyway. I mean, you know.
No, it would be a good thing, I think, to boycott that. I mean, it's just so out of control and in our faces. But it's getting more and more interesting to me to see how we will transition through this time period. I've got great hope. You know, as our vibrations are raising, as we're going through this 26,000 year period, I do think that people are starting to become aware of the inequality of the games, of the corruption, and that ultimately we will step into our own power as adults of God in this 21st century and figure out how to co-create miracles and have a better life. Aha, Smokey.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Smokey back in here. Smokey,
hello.
Yeah.
I'm on.
We
lost out for a fag. Hey,
sorry, my phone connection died.
Well, TSA was, trying to get in.
Yeah, we were getting a little scared earlier because we were getting busy signals everywhere. Smokey was trying to call me and he was getting busy signals. I was trying to call Karen, getting busy signals, and we were like, they're on to us.
Guys, I just got a Skype, I just got a Skype message from Bill Coons because he's online. And like I said, we are, we're regularly in touch. We are anyway, even when he's back in the States. And he's over in Bournemouth, which I think is about 150 miles from where I am. They're coming down here to stay with me. But, I said, why don't you come on and say hi? I'm on live. And he said he's shy.
Well, we'll see if we can get him next week.
Yeah, he does actually.
Does he have music online?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He says musicians are the spearheads for social movements.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Better. Yeah. So that's what he says.
Everybody else is lame.
But we're not
he's
prejudiced.
the guy that posts everything up because he has all this, with marketing and promotion and stuff. So if you do, Detlev, if you do the YouTube, I'll get Bill to post it all up everywhere.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's going to take a few days because this time I'm a little busy. So,
that's all right. Yeah. Oh, he's watching The Shadows. He's watching The Shadows on television.
What is that about?
The band. The Shadows.
Band, yeah.
It's a band?
Yeah, it's an old band.
Oh, yeah. Cliff Richard and The Shadows.
Huh.
Yeah, mind your backs.
Oh, The Shadows are bad. I have a video of them somewhere on Facebook.
Hank
I
Marv.
just found him. I just got him online here. I got
They're
a million
bad.
views. Yeah. Black and Whites. Cliff Richard and the Shadows.
So, Alan, can we get you to play us a song today? Do you feel like exercising your fingers there?
I've got to tune my guitar to 440 because I had it tuned to 432. So it's.
Oh, well, let's listen to it in 432.
Oh, I've started to tune it up, so it's all over the place.
Well, I like 432 better because the 528 broke my strings.
Well, we can have a song in between while he's fixing his guitar.
Sure.
So, are we into Obsolete of Egg Planet?
Egg Planet?
Yeah, as a break.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Okay, so then stay on, and Alan, you can fix your guitar meanwhile.
Sure.
Okay, so see you in a sec.
This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network. for Freedom on ICRN-Radio.com every Sunday at 3 p.m. MDT and 10 p.m. UK time. for guests and political music, live from the Colorado studio.
Yes.
We're back. This is Sunday, September 17th, with Musicians for Freedom with Sharlene Holt. We've got Smokey from Voodoo Stingray at voodoostingray.com. We've heard some of his music. And we just heard from Egg Planet. Detlev is in Switzerland producing for us today. And we are going to be treated now for a few minutes by a live performance from Alin from ET UK. So, Alin, let us know what you'd like to play, and we're happy that you're all tuned up and ready to go.
Right, okay, I think we all know this one. This is going to be a cover song, just for a change. And I think you'll recognise it when you hear it, because this is one of your guys over there. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were. Old man, look at my life, 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in the paradise that makes me think of truth. Love lost such a cost. Give me things that won't get lost. Like a coin that don't get tossed, rolling on to you. Oh, man, take a look at my life. I'm a lot like you. Well, I need someone to love me the whole day through. With just one look in my eye, you can tell that's true. Lullabies look in your eyes, run around the same old town. Doesn't mean that much to me, to mean that much to you. I've been first and last, thinking how the time goes past. Now I'm all alone at last, rolling on to you. Old man, take a look at my life, I'm a lot like you. I need someone to love me the whole day through. With just one look in my eye, you can tell that's true. Old man, look at my life, I'm a lot like you were.
Yay! Woo!
All right, that was nice.
Oh, do you have the clapping? You've got the canned clapping?
Well, I did hear kind of a strange background noise that came through there. Detlev, you put that down in there. It almost sounded like a plane or something from my end.
It was the aliens. That was the alien.
Oh, that was not just one.
Brings them in.
It wasn't
It was the TSA. It was the TSA were in now.
Yeah. You see, they're all over.
Well, nice job. You have a real nice style to your playing.
Yeah, Alin, that's great.
I should hope so. I've been at it long enough.
How did you get your first guitar?
Well, actually, we're talking about 1,000 years ago. I mean, the story is actually on my biography. And when I was in junior school, as we call it, when I was about 8, 9 years old. We had a teacher at school who had a big acoustic, steel acoustic jumbo guitar, and he used to come in with the guitar and sing us folk songs, to the children. And I just fell in love with the instrument, and I also loved him too because he looked like Jesus. Back in the early 70s, I guess. And he had long hair and a beard and stuff, and he had a beautiful, calming voice. He was just a lovely teacher, a lovely guy. And then before long, I was joining in because I'd learned a few chords, and sometimes he would leave the classroom and leave me to it as I, learn more songs. So that's how I started. And, of course, my parents bought me my first guitar, and the guitar that you just heard, I've had that since I was 9 years old. And it's like it's like my daughter, it's like part of me. Yeah. But she doesn't like being tuned to 432, and we were going to talk about that.
Why? What are your problems that you're experiencing with that? That's interesting.
Well, we know that the standard, international standard, organization or whatever, ISO, the 440 tuning came in 1939, introduced by the Nazis, by one Joseph Goebbels, according to the research that's out there on the internet. I find that absolutely fascinating. And I think that Smokey was saying why about harmonics and stuff, but why did the Nazis want to get involved with music and change the frequencies? I find that fascinating, almost a bit sinister even. So any instruments that were made after 1939 would have been made, obviously, for 440, including my Lake, the guitar you just heard. So they don't like being tuned into 432 because they're not built that way. You get me?
Yeah, I do. That's interesting.
Yeah, and, I've tried to tune, but the other thing is we don't have 432 tuners. We can get the tuning forks, right? And if you go on the internet, you can get a 432 A note, which is it's the A, 432 hertz is the A above middle C on the piano. And if you look at a piano, if you Google frequencies on a piano keyboard or something, it shows you all the, 8 octaves. It shows you all the frequencies, all up and down, the scales, right? On the, the black notes, the white notes and black notes, okay? So the A is the A note above the middle C, which is 440. But they took it up by 8 hertz, and 8 hertz is supposed to be 8 hertz, which is 8 cycles per second. According to Ananda Bosman and his research, was fascinating, all this hydronic science and hyper-dimensional science and so on. 8 hertz is the frequency of our heart, of the heart. So why have they detuned why have they gone to sort of tuned up from 432 up 8 hertz, exactly 8 hertz to 440? The whole subject is fascinating, guys. I mean, it really is what we're doing as musicians. But the real question is, why did the Nazis change it and then make it into an international standard?
I would think that it has something to do with control and power and dissonance. Instead of allowing 432, something that is more beneficial, something that has dissonance would serve to also drive a wedge between us and spiritually cut us off from the benefits we could be receiving.
I think a lot of musicians feel that when you look at all the Godlike Productions or whatever it is, that, when you look at all the blogging stuff about this, I think there is a consensus among some musicians at any rate that there was a sinister reason why the Nazis changed it. And it really, if you think about it, if the frequency vibration thing, which I think that we all know that modern science, quantum physics and so on, we know that everything is frequency and vibration. But if that's true, it means since 1939, we've been kind of affected by that change of tuning, by all of the music that we've been hearing over the airways, live and so on. And perhaps we need to go back to 432, back to what they call the Verdi tuning, which is the classical tuning, Pythagorean, tuning and so on, the ancient tuning, which is more attuned, as you were saying earlier on, Karen, more attuned with, the fractal universe and so on, with
well,
creation.
It sounds like you have to build guitars and build the instruments so that they will hold that tuning more naturally. So
that's right, yeah.
Who's building those guitars right now?
Here we go,
Well,
a whole new business.
Yeah. Well, I know that, I mean, there are people out there like, I've forgotten his first name, Collins. Is it Brian Collins or someone like that? He's Mega432 is the website. And you've got musicians out there that are really, pushing this thing, they really are promoting this 432 stuff. And I've only just recently discovered this stuff myself.
I haven't even heard of 432. I was just still catching up with the 528. Okay, I'm going to go Mega 432. Okay.
Yeah. Hurts.
But when you look on a scale, 528 doesn't really mean anything. It's kind of between an E natural and I think it's between I can't remember what note it is. But 528 doesn't really mean anything, whether it's 440 or 432. It doesn't really, can you see what I mean? It's sort of in between note, you know. Maybe it's an Indian thing. I don't know. I have no idea.
From. The only thing I know is the guy Horowitz was the one that was talking about 528. I haven't really researched where he got 528. Now I'm on this website for Omega 432, and they seem to have some reference to the harmonics of light, the spirals in nature, that kind of stuff, the spirit of water, the body electrics.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, Collins, what he does, he gets a tuning fork and he hits it on a table and then he puts it onto a glass of water. And he does it 3 times and he drinks the water on a video. And I thought, wow. But, you know, I'm new to this. So I'm not pretending, I'm not trying to be an expert because I'm not. But I do know this. This is really important, guys. It really is very important, what tuning we use. So the good news is that I'm actually going to convert my entire album when it's mixed. I've taken out 3 songs and I'm recording 3 new songs, on the album Providence, it's called. It's coming out, I hope, before Christmas. But it's very easy to convert, to detune from 440 down to 432. If you use, programs like Audacity or Wavelab, SoundForge, Cubase. I think most, it is possible to get a WAV file, stick it through the thing, and it will just detune it without slowing the track down, if you see what I mean. It's like a time stretch.
Alan, let's just quickly make a break because we do have a poor connection and we got some background noises before we get on anything live. We should try to reconnect here. So please stay tuned, and I do have a tune by Skip, the artist Apathy. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
As if the earth stood still, I saw that life needed my help, and yet I lost my will. I killed millions, men, women, and children I care for. Guess I chose a life I wasn't much prepared for. I gave them info, vital to the survival of my kinfolk. I misspoke, sodium pitfall, hijacked my pen stroke. The list I wrote with like this: names, dates, and places, time, sites, locations, hobbies, and occupations. I denied them, I tried to, I really did. Yet in the end, I led them right back to where you live. And yes, your ghost still haunts me. I hope you can forgive me. In the end, it cost me way more than I could possibly give. Somehow philosophy switched and rearranged, and I became all the hypocrisy I never faced. So when the going got tough, I let go. I'm just one man against the world that's too big to overthrow. I'd stand, but it seems I got nothing left and wish you care about how now it hits you. Hope until someone fix you. I'd stand, but it seems I got nothing left and I wish you care about how now it hits you. Hope until someone fix you. Now I'd stand, but it seems that I got nothing left and I wish you care about how now it hits you. Hope until someone fix you. I'd stand, but it seems that I got nothing left and I wish you care about how now convince you. So no one gets you. Up, almost there. No one sees, no one cares where we are, headed nowhere. Waiting for a Superman, but where'd he go? I don't try to start no problem. What can I do after all? Instead I'm he made a weighty consequence, more than just a man or more than words I wrote, more than just a song, more than fixing and I'm hoping on the long run, right but not quite the same thing. Maybe we're stuck in the same dream.
The reason that you're going to lose is simply because there is nowhere in God's holy word that he ever told one of his children to fight the devil.
Join Musicians for Freedom on ICRadioNetwork.com every Sunday at 3 p.m. MDT and 10 p.m. UK time for guests and political music live from the Colorado studio.
So, Alan, why don't you take over here, Musicians for Freedom, Mrs. Detlev?
Yes, hi, good evening, and or whatever time it is in your part of the world. This is UWS Radio, and the program is Musicians for Freedom, and we've had a great time today. I keep saying evening because it's evening here in the UK, but we are actually in Europe, we're in America, we're all over the place, and I would like to introduce Sharlene, who is going to give us something live right now. Go ahead, Sharlene. 1, 2, 3, kick.
Well, good afternoon. It's only not even 5 o'clock, so the show is Colorado time, 3 to 5 p.m. And I guess, so what's the time difference in the UK to Switzerland? Are you guys on the same time?
No, we aren't.
Difference.
Yeah, 1 hour. So they are a little ahead of us. No, behind.
Behind.
What time is it right where you are now, Detlev?
Oh, well, it's 12:30, so that's, what do you say?
Midnight 30.
Midnight plus.
Midnight 30?
That's right.
Yeah, it's 23:37 here, so it's kind of 20 odd minutes before midnight here. So if you put Detlev is an hour forward from that.
Yeah, I'm in the future.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you are. Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'm going to write a song, play a song. I don't know that it has anything to do with the future. It might. And this one's called, it's called Tales Are Told. I don't think I've played this one here for you guys yet. Tales are told by those in power of courageous people throughout the world, of brave Americans who died for their country, and Roman warriors in chariots of gold. Tales of wrought iron Spanish galleons sailing bravely over blood-red seas, knighted English gentlemen slaying dragons and performing good deeds. Sail on blind and helpless warriors
to the places of imminent death. But I'll stay behind no matter what it costs. I have to pass no bravery test. They go for reasons which are false to me, for reasons they believe to be their own. But these reasons are merely manufactured by men who never have to go. If I am judged by my Creator as people need me to believe, I won't give up no pride nor self-respect for my country I don't wish to leave.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
That was very pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Very well done, Sharlene.
Thank you. Very old song. Back when I was 20-something.
Wow.
I like the message of that song, though. You know, it's just about how it's always been. You know, it's always been and it always will be. You know, that there are soldiers and military people, and they'll go out there and they'll tell everybody, you know, you have to go to war and you have to go kill these people so that we can continue to live the lives that we have. And then people step up and do it. Why do they do it? Huh?
We've always been writing protest songs. I mean, on the OurEnglandUK.com site, there's a clip there with me and Brian Gerrish, and this is where I was introduced to the, you know, to all these activist groups and stuff. And Bill Coons, by the way, he filmed it. But, you know, I was asked the question, you know, it's great that you're bringing in the young people, you know, young music. And he said, where do you think that music comes in? I said, well, music's always had a role to play. I mean, you just go back to the 60s with Bob Dylan and protest song. I mean, my goodness me, you go back to the cotton, you know, the blues and the whole history of music. It's always about struggle. It's always about love. It's always about, you know, the observations of writers, you know, like that beautiful
Telling
song
stories.
you just played us. Yeah.
Telling
So
stories.
we've always had a role to play, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, you know, I mean, I just, like on my website, I mean, that's kind of why I started Musicians for Freedom, was because so much of the news, obviously, is always left-brained, you know? It's just, and it's always about power over. And it's not about...
Irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Yeah.
And it's not about interpersonal power, you know, and I have realized that, you know, if people just spent more of our lives and our time and our effort, you know, seeing what's inside of us, you know, sort of expressing ourselves, you know, with art, music and love and food and, you know, just, and anything you want, you know, people have such, an enormous ability to express.
We're reminding people. I mean, we observe things, we write them. And then we, you know, we perform them like you just did there. But what it is, it's reminding people. It's touching your spirit, you know, and you're reminding people about it. It's like Smokey's song. I mean, sometimes we write about sad things as well and dark sort of subjects, you know, about alcoholism and so forth. But I mean, we are reminding people about who and what they are. And that's the role that we've always had since time immemorial.
And getting the message out, you know, instead of writing a book,
a really
you
huge
sing them
role.
a song.
And all these horrible politicians, they look down on us like we're just slaves. But actually we're not. We've got a very important role to play within society and for humanity. And I think that actually we're more relevant than they ever were.
Well, it's really hard to understand sometimes, you know, and I think I was young at one time and I had a lot of hormones raging, you know, but, I feel like that, you know, that the whole, you know, sex and violence kind of culture, I don't understand, where does it come from? I mean, is it manufactured? by the elite and fed to us through, the programming on the television? Is that where, would we normally be like this if we weren't continuously fed a diet of, you have to struggle to succeed?
No, I think that the parasitical elites, they have always used the strategy of divide and rule, divide and conquer. And between all groups of people, between cultures and colours, religions, between male and female, between young and old, because that's how they maintain their power. They get everybody to, this is why we're seeing all the chaos around the Middle East and North Africa and all over the world with the banking crisis and so on. Because they get everybody to fight with each other while they slip out the back door with all the gold.
Right.
They create chaos with false flag terrorism and so on. And then what they're hoping to do, they want to blow everything up. And then they're hoping to pick up the pieces and put it in their pocket. That's what they do. And I think now we can realize what this reptilian kind of strategy is. And we open people's minds. That's what my Lizards in the Bathtub song's all about. It's about consciousness as well. It's about how we deal with it, how you deal with it. If it's raining outside, how do you deal with that? Do you get miserable, or do you go and sing and, do you sing and dance in the rain? So we need rain to grow the crops. It's up to you. It's your choice about how you think and how you act.
It's always seemed to me too that everything that we want and need is for free. If you breathe and there's air and you need water and there's water to drink and we need, food and an apple fits in your hand. You don't have to shrink it. You don't have to enlarge it. It fits in your hand. So everything is already here that we need. And the only reason that anybody has any strife at all is because of scarcity, artificially created or something, isn't it?
Well, we're raised in poverty consciousness.
Poverty consciousness.
Yeah. And that's part,
Go ahead.
It's on purpose. Poverty consciousness has come from these last centuries, from our entire history of us being programmed to believe that some of us are worth defending and dying for, and others of us are just the ones that are meant to defend and die. And as we step into our awareness of equality, then I think it will change. And to me, messing with a musical frequency that would have been much more beneficial to us is a huge act to sabotage our consciousness and our connection to the creative force that is abundant in the universe.
It's a galactic crime, Karen.
Galactic crime.
It's an intergalactic crime. I think that's what United We Strike is all about. It's saying just opt out. It's just don't go along with it, with the control system. I think that's the key to the message. The key to the message is, look, just one day every month, opt out. Say no. Don't go along with this control system. They are irrelevant. And that one day can turn into 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. I was fascinated,
There's a week-long strike now, Alan, that I've been participating in. It's at globalnoncompliance.com, and it was from the 12th until the 19th. And it simply means, choosing to buy your gas and your groceries outside of that time so that during this particular week we drop their profits. And that's what the 15th do. When enough of us participate on a monthly basis to where it rolls around and Wall Street starts to say, man, what's happening? Every month we're losing money. Then they will start to get the message of solidarity.
How many of you guys listened to Alex Jones on Friday? There's a guy called Mike Adams was, hosting the show.
Yeah, I heard about that on Friday.
Well, they were talking about the TSA, right, the Terrorist Stripping Agency organization. The TSA, they're now coming into the NFL, the football league.
Hang on a second. Smokey, you're running water or something in the background there, and we can hear what you are doing. Sorry. Thank you.
Are you still there, Smokey?
Yeah, I'm here.
There's a mute button on your phone. Wait, Smokey, there's a mute button usually on your phone. If you hit that, then you can do what you want. You just have to remember to hit it again when you talk.
Right. Okay, sorry.
Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, Alex Jones show, Friday. Okay. It was Mike Adams. I'd never heard of the guy, but he was very good. He was very good.
Oh, he's really good. He does rap songs. He's one of my featured musicians or activists or something. I think.
Oh, really?
I can't remember what. Yeah, he does.
But they were talking about the TSA in the NFL, you know, the football. That the TSA are now coming in and strip search, you know, apparently at all the football things. And and Bob Chapman comes on and says, take your ticket back and demand your money back.
Oh, exactly. That's the only way to do this.
And phone them up, say, we are not going to put up with this in the football. Now, they want to do this in the football as well. I mean, and that's the way to back that. They can't afford, these football clubs and these stadiums, they cannot afford for people to boycott them. And that's exactly the same idea as Karen's United We Strike idea. It's exactly the same, isn't it?
Well, I like the way Bert is handling it. So rather than give the ticket back, you know, you go to the game and then you give him the fee schedule and then you go to court and you sue him for lots of money for having violated your rights, you know? But
well,
the only problem, of course...
You could go there in the nude and screw things up.
I just wanted to save you a little time and effort. Well, I think the problem, you know, I was looking at the civil rules or the rules of civil procedure, federal rules of civil procedure, something like that. And it's funny, it's rule number 13. I thought that was pretty funny, you know. It sounds like a private joke, you know. Rule 13. And it says that you can't sue the United States.
I mean, why are these sheeple putting up with all this stuff, this BS?
Well, it doesn't apply if you're not a citizen. That's why we totally are down with this whole get rid of that citizen thing, get your rights back. And now when anybody tries to fill you up or touch you or kidnap you or any of that stuff, you take them to court.
But I've watched videos of children being groped in airports in America. Mm. I mean, you know, I can't believe it. Detlev, would you allow that to happen to your children?
Of course not. That's why I'm not flying
it's
anymore.
It's preposterous. It's absurd.
Sure.
Yeah, but rather than not fly anymore, if you just go ahead and, you know, figure out how to file the paperwork to not be a citizen of your, you know, corporation, there's no country. Yeah, we're all just, we're actually public officers of whatever corporation, you know, calls itself a country. So, you know, and I don't know. I don't know what it's like in the UK or Switzerland in terms of how, you know, because I'm just so familiar with America and the Constitution and stuff, you know, and having unalienable rights, you know. And apparently, John Harris, you know, he goes back to the Magna Carta, you know, and apparently, you know, the idea of being a free man.
Yeah.
How is it in Switzerland, Detlev? Do you have the option of being free people there?
Well, that's the struggle we all fighting over here because we have been kept dumb and but people are waking up. And
yeah, but at least you guys went crazy when the Bilderbergers were there.
Sure, in Switzerland, and I also led the fight against the Hamburg airport naked body scanner, and they actually had to remove it just a few weeks ago.
Great. You can tell us about that. Good.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've been working on that one pretty hard.
So we have VR change in Switzerland, or where
we have changes all over the place. I mean, you know, they are in Germany, they're in Switzerland, Austria, everywhere.
Interesting.
And we work together occasionally. I mean, you know, I make my own thing. I mean, you cannot do everything, you know. Can you? I mean, you know, but we all stick together, sort of, and trying.
We're trying.
Trying.
Well, it worked if you got rid of us.
The Bilderberger thing, you know, Detlev, is that, you know, some of the Swiss politicians came out and said, hey, you know, Kissinger, and they chased him out. He had to get out by a helicopter and so forth. I mean, he's running like a criminal that he is, you know, a mass murdering criminal. Yeah. And that was great. You know, that was really good, and it got a hell of a lot of publicity, didn't it?
Yeah, the Joe Batic, that's one of the politicians. He actually got assaulted when he was trying to enter the Bilderberger Hotel in St. Moritz, and then they really stopped this Bilderberger meeting a day early because they were really afraid because they were police was announced to come the next day. So they, to arrest them.
Yep. We heard Benjamin Fulford talking yesterday, and he said that also, that the Bilderbergers had to break it up because they knew that the police were coming to arrest them the next day for their treatment of the politician. And he also said, now I don't know if this is true or not. There's so many things going around, but he said that that 2 underground cities were blown up.
Nuked.
Were nuked. That were the ones that the Illuminati had planned to go in after they nuked the planet. So they took out part of their escape plan, and supposedly the Illuminati are losing power and control and money, and there are groups in the background, and if they're successful soon, we'll hear about mass arrests of people like Kissinger and the Bush-Clinton crime syndicate family and stuff. So it's going to be interesting. I like that story. That would be a nice ending.
That's inevitable.
Yeah, but I'm still a little reluctant of Benjamin Fulford saying that he's actually expecting everything is going to be wonderful afterwards. I don't know whether we do not just exchange one tyranny against the next one,
Yeah, I really worry about that. I think the guy is sort of a disinfo potentially, not that I've really researched it in any depth, but, they always fund both sides. And so obviously they take all the momentum, down with the Bilderbergs and down with the Council on Foreign Relations and down with the Illuminati and blah, 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 blah. And they take all of that and then they take those people down and then they bring up another group.
Sure.
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, they get everyone to fight amongst each other while they slip out the back with with the gold. That's right. I think that Jeffrey Grupp from Antimatter Radio, I don't know if you guys know about Jeffrey Grupp. He did a fantastic article, and he put it on InfoWars, and it was taken down, and it was entitled "The New World Order Wants the New World Order to Fail." You guys know that. He identifies the they know that everyone's going to go for the politicians and the banking system and whatever. So these guys at the top of the capstone, they're planning their exit already, whether it's off planet or underground. I say, let them go underground and we'll just lock them in.
Well, it's a really good one, yeah. So we'll see how it comes off. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just kind of looking at all these different things that are out there, like Alfred Weber was talking about the Great Space War is finally over and the alien greys and the Dracos have been tossed out into their own part of the universe, and the Illuminati no longer have the backing of their space buddies there either. So I don't know what's going on,
I'll tell you what, Karen. I know what you mean, but I'll tell you what, I do believe in the Father, the divine source creator. And I know that I did not come here to be a slave. And my little 3-year-old niece, she's got a future. And that's what counts. Our children are going to be free. I've written a song about that, by the way. It's called Peace Izzy, because her name's Isabel. And it's basically it says, you're my beloved niece. You're a little child. And I promise you'll be free. I promise you.
Oh, that's great, Alan. We need everybody to feel like that, and then our world will be free.
Are you going to sing that song for us, Alan? Why don't you sing it for us live?
Well, I think we have to spare that one for the next show, because we are slowly getting to the end of the show, and maybe it's worthwhile that everybody can shout out her website. And, announce what's coming up next. I mean, next week.
Well, next week, God willing, and Detlev producing, I'm hoping to have my friend Jeff Wittig has agreed to come to the studio here today and play. So, is that going to work for you next week, Detlev, you think? Or should we do the show earlier?
As long as God is allowing me to, yes, sure.
We could just do it earlier. If you want.
Yeah, well, we can see. Maybe that's a wise idea, yeah. If we can, start an hour early, that would be nice.
Yeah. Well, so that's on my agenda, and we're also, we want to put a shout out for the producer. We're looking for producers. Karen with United We Strike is always looking for folks that can, no matter where you are in the world, who can help, to produce, radio shows. It's not that hard, and Karen and Detlev can hook you up with software and give you a little training, and, before you know it, you'll be live and fighting the New World Order live. From wherever you are on the planet, right?
So Smokey is already volunteered, sort of?
Yeah, Smokey.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll be up for producing in the future.
Good.
Yep.
That would be great. Yeah, that'll come in handy.
Karen and Alin, just a quick announcement of your websites, and then we've got to go into break and see you then next week.
Well, I'm at Musicians for Freedom.
Yeah.
So I'm Sharlene. It's musiciansforfreedom.com. And Smokey, who are you?
VoodooStingray.com.
Okie dokie. And then Alin Karna, where do we find you?
EnglishRivieraProductions.co.uk.
All right.
Or OurEnglandUK.com.
Good.
Cool. I'm going to put a post up on my website for you. You've got so many cool things out there.
Fine, wonderful. Karen?
And Karen?
All right, Detlev, thank you very much. I've got taxfree15.com. We also have UnitedWeStrike.com. And thanks to Detlev, we've got the September archives up already. If you haven't heard it, check it out. Especially listen to Jim Pakulis and his eyewitness account on 9/11. Thank you very much, Detlev, in Switzerland. So you might as well take us out then.
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is Detlev, wakenews.net and Wake News Radio, and I'm hosting here Musicians for Freedom as a producer, and we are listening to some music, Love, Peace, Freedom of or by Remo Conscious. So see you next week on Sunday.
This is Musicians for Freedom on UWS Community Radio and the International Community Radio Network.
Follow their hearts, where material lust was a thing of the past, and corporations couldn't buy a man's soul with cash, and since money buy trouble, it was all burned. Love and respect would make the world turn. We were bartered for good, every hood had peace, in a land full of nourishment so all could eat. Picture no starvation, war between nations, where every day it's a celebration, and it's okay to smile, shake hands and hug, cause to get a record deal you don't have to be a thug. The sky's always clear, no smog and no tears in the eyes of a child, cause she's living in fear. No guns or bullets, bombs or borders, no secret societies, new world order. Prisons don't exist, cause crime's obsolete. Freedom is real and love rules the street. Freedom is poetry over a fresh beat, and the sound of life never sounded so sweet. And just to make it complete, there are no elite. All people are equal, white, yellow, or brown feet. Smile at each other, give a pound when they meet, rather than grease, stress, bullet holes, or lose teeth. Say love, L-O-V-E. What about peace between you and me? Freedom. Put your hands in the sky if you believe we can find it tonight. I said love, L-O-V-E. What about peace? Freedom. Can this place really exist, or am I psychotic? Is this world we live in meant to be chaotic? Little boys with guns, fully loaded and heavy, trigger finger steady, flesh torn like confetti. Bless those born ready and wide awake, struggling for peace in a cold world of hate, poverty and disease. Enemies await armed in the shadows, each day a battle fighting with starvation or self-annihilation. Life's full of complications. The media and school systems got your mind in prison, trapped in a box of limited thought and vision. From pediatrician to mortician, the struggles continue. It's just paying the rent. It takes every last cent. The present quickly turns to past tense. homicide by drive-by or government. They spend billions on bombs but neglect the war on the streets where kids commit crimes just to eat, dying on crippled blocks where tax money seems to fund dirty cops who play God with guns. The schools are left in shambles, making the future for the planet that we cherish a gamble. My pockets are full of lead, but if I had the money, I wouldn't buy diamonds. I feed the hungry. Say love, L-O-V-E. What about peace between you and me? Freedoms. Put your hands in the sky if you believe we can find it tonight. I said love, L-O-V-E. What about peace? Freedom. Which is the road to peace and happiness, smiles and sunshine, love and fun times. No more bombs, tanks, or gun times, or minorities placed on the front lines. I dream of these things like a fiend in the night, holding the mic like a pipe, looking for light. I wanna inhale my daughter's smile and exhale relief, knowing that she can live in peace. Sometimes tears run down my cheek, chasing dreams will get us turned to gold, and sour living turns sweet, but pain turns to joy. The smiles replace the frowns on every face. Girls and boys know that they have a place in this world, living free from oppression in a land where complexion can mean either life or death, have and have not. That's why we have got to make a change for social justice in a nation of deranged men greedy for control of your soul. It'll change when we organize and wise up. We've got to join as one and rise up if we really want love, L-O-V-E. What about peace between you and me? Freedoms. Put your hands in the sky if you believe we can find it tonight. I said love, L-O-V-E. What about peace? Freedom.